God, guys, come on. Usually I'm the person you gotta bring it together. You guys are
Trying to hold it together, man.
Holy
Just
crap.
think about it, like just think about like driving in your car, right? And then you just be like, he's running the red light. He almost hit that pedestrian audio listeners.
The definition of rebirth is the process of being reincarnated or born again. Nobody asked. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. My name is Nestani.
I'm Jaxler, and I just had to listen to that.
My name is DECosmic, and I thought that was pretty funny, actually.
My name is Coley, and I have no opinion on that, honestly.
Yeah, well, we're back again. Your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. That's us. And today, if you all couldn't guess, for those that know, do any of you know what I'm referring to when I say rebirth has happened?
Oh, no.
Oh,
Nope.
I got
Probably
excited
some
for a
Fire
second.
Emblem
I
thing.
thought Cole knew what I was talking about. Okay, for those of you, do you all know a game called Tetris?
Oh yeah, Tetris Rebirth
Tetris
happened.
Rebirth
That's
has
right.
finally happened. I was
Yeah.
there watching that shit live, by the way. I was on that shit. So, for those of you that don't know what Tetris Rebirth is, let's talk about Tetris, Smile. So, specifically, there is competitive Tetris, right? So people are really good at like moving the blocks in the hole, right? And so they've developed a lot of techniques in order to get their holes better. And one of these techniques is called rolling, which is literally like you take your hands and you go on the controller,
you drum it on
and
the back of the controller.
and you can like
I know
move it
what
like
we're
all the way
talking
to the
about
left
now.
or right, like in like between like 20 hertz. It's like stupid. It's just like really quickly. Anyway, so on the NES version of Tetris, how do I want to go about this? So on the NES version of Tetris, whenever you reach level 155, since the NES is a shitty console that does math bad, it basically fucks up the math so that the game crashes, basically. And you every time you clear a line from level 155 and on, you have a percentage chance of crashing the game. And so they've modded the game so that you can go past the crash. And basically what Rebirth means is that you go all the way through the game, and then at some point you loop back to the beginning. And so they bypass the crash, but then in level 235, every like level of Tetris is 10 lines, right? We're all cool. 10 lines per level,
10
right?
lines. Yep.
So like you clear
Yeah.
100 levels, that's 1,000 lines, right? That you have to clear. Pretty hard, and you're doing this on the fastest speed of the game from level 29 onward, right? You're at the fastest speed from 29 onward, and then when you get to level 235, so whatever that is by 10, that's how many lines you've cleared by now.
2,350.
In order to get that, and in order to clear that level, you have to clear 810 lines.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So
What? The
Rebirth happens at 255. So it is a ridiculously long thing. And if you all haven't seen it, just look up Tetris Rebirth on YouTube and just watch Dog play. Just like
It's
skip halfway through the VOD.
Yeah.
He's doing that the whole time. He's doing that the whole time.
He's just drumming the whole time.
It
Yeah.
is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. It's so impressive. But regardless, so Tetris players, there's tournaments and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? What Rebirth is looping the game on itself because it's theoretically possible, and it has not been done by a human until like 3 or 4 days ago as of recording this. And Dog playing Tetris, also known as Dog, also known as Michael Kahn, I think. He also makes music. Check him out on Spotify. Hashtag ad. It's not an ad. I just he was saying that at the end of his run. He was saying that at the end of his run. I figured I'd throw it.
But Dog, if you want to reach out, Dog,
That's true.
Like,
yeah, if you want to be on
wanna
the
reach out,
podcast, come on.
there you go.
I love Tetris.
Come
we'll
join us.
collab. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll tell you how
won't
freaking
scam
cool
you.
you are.
Yeah. And we'll put
I
our long
think
piece
that-
in your hole.
There you go.
Maybe
I
not.
wouldn't go that far.
I feel like
Wow.
he's not. I feel like he's not
It's tall
yearning
order.
for any more validation than he's received in the
That's-
last 72 hours.
it
But
is
you
insane.
know,
So this
there's
is like,
4 more people that will validate you on the internet, so you can come
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
but this is
Absolutely.
like basically like the pinnacle of Tetris, because there's been a couple people that have like beat Tetris, right? Have gotten to 155, the game crashes, and they're like, "Oh, cool, I beat Tetris," right? Wicked.
Yep.
Still very hard to do that, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
basically what happened in this run is that on NES Tetris, since it's infinite, the world record is basically who has the highest score. So in this run, not only did Dog demolish the record, like he has, I think his score was 29 mil, and I think second place now is like 14 mil, I think.
That's
insane.
actually
it's
pretty cool.
insane.
I just always find it funny to watch them with the little white gloves on,
the white gloves,
so
yeah.
that they can like tap
So
the
they
back
can
of the
roll it.
controller faster.
Yeah.
That's just so funny to me.
And so basically he goes through like all of these lines playing perfectly. By the way, if you haven't seen level 29 of Tetris, it is fast. It's so fast. It is like ridiculous. And on top of that, past level 155, the game breaks, obviously, as we could tell, which means that the colors go out of whack. And so if you've ever seen Tetris, it's on a black background. There's a skin of colors in the game where you just have
it's just,
black
like, basically
boxes. Like the pieces are black. So they
that's
put it
cool.
into the
Like, they're black, and then I think they have like a small like white accent to denote like the depth or
and you
whatever,
can, like,
right? Yeah.
barely see it. It is so you can barely see the pieces, and then when you hit the 235 800 line escapade, you're just on this like really dark green color that's also hard to see on the black background, and you're doing that for 800 lines. The run's 2 hours long, by the way. And that's like
insane.
basically like an hour and 45 of just like, if not
That
a bit
fast
more,
of Tetris.
of just super fast, like
Oh my god.
it is.
Yeah, I mean, this
Watching
stuff
pro
wasn't even
Tetris
possible.
players is so impressive, dude.
This stuff wasn't even possible until they figured out the drumming technique, by the way, because you couldn't even move the pieces fast enough to finish levels.
Yeah.
Like, so that whole, like, just drumming the back of the controller to move pieces faster, that was what had to happen in order for them to even think about getting to this point.
Yeah. And then also modding the game so that they could dodge all the crashes.
Well, I mean, to even get to the crash point, right?
Yeah, to get to the crash point, you had to roll. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's a very... Tetris is definitely a hoot and a half to watch.
Dude, it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, I like
So
watching it more than
people-
playing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I thought about playing it one time, and then I was like,
Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
I haven't
That's how it
touched...
goes.
I haven't touched Tetris since like I was holding a TI-83 in math class. like you know, that's about the only time. It's like that's
God,
like one
do you
of those
remember
got
when they were
games on
like,
your
"Oh, you're
phone.
not always gonna have a calculator on you. You're not always gonna have a calculator.
you're not always going to have
Throwback.
Tetris on you. I don't know. But yeah, so why
guess
this
I
is
could go to
really
bed.
impressive, by the way, is that since rolling technique has been discovered and then they cleared 155, the next like big goal, which I'm sure a lot of you are speedrunners that listen to this podcast, there's always big goals in community, right? It's like a community-wide goal. And so like for Scooby, it was getting a sub 25, right, for the longest time. Now, this is Tetris, so the goal was to get Rebirth, which basically what happens is whenever you reach level 255, the game loops in onto itself, and then you start at level 1 again, and then like the decimals that like say your like level or whatever like are just like arrows instead of like numbers. So, or like question marks or exclamation marks. They're just random symbols rather than the actual numbers that signify the level.
I wonder if that has to do with the sliders for like different like the different primary light colors on hue sliders, because they all go to 255.
I don't know.
So usually in computers,
like red, blue, and green, it goes to 255, right?
I do know how the math works in Tetris. I just wasn't going to say it because it's kind of boring.
It's
that's
the
fair.
long and short of it is that certain types of like ways of storing numbers in a computer can only like store from like 0 to 255.
In Tetris's case,
So when you-
999,999. It can't go to a million.
Exactly.
Okay.
So once you get past 255, it just loops back.
Yeah, and so they use like a hex decimal, I believe, and then they also do the math by like tens or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I literally watched a video about this today, and I was just like, I don't care enough to like.
It's pretty crazy.
But yeah, the computer
There's a
basically
lot of
sucks,
math,
and
yeah.
so it's like doing a bunch of math on top of a bunch of math on top of a bunch of math, and it's doing that so slowly at level 155 that it takes longer than a frame, which means that the game crashes. And basically, if you get like an integer of I think 0.2, the game crashes, and if you get anything else, it doesn't crash. And there's I think 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, and 0, 2. I didn't watch the whole video. I skimmed through it. I'll be so for real. So I could be spreading misinformation, but that's cool. But anyway, so the game loops on itself. So technically, you could just keep getting Rebirth forever and forever. And so I guess like the next thing is double Rebirth. But yeah,
it should probably take 2 centuries to get done.
Yeah, Dog got Rebirth, and then he like kept going for like a while. I forget what level he got to after, but
it starts over
29
at
minutes.
1. Like it starts over at what, level 1?
Yeah, so so like whenever you rebirth, it starts back at level 1, which means you're back at like the 0 speed. So like you go from like super omega fast Tetris to like
some Tetris reincarnation right there.
Yeah, that's why they call it Rebirth. It is so cool, and it was fucking crazy to watch it live.
See, I was so confused when we started talking about this too, because Tetris Rebirth sounds like a Tetris game.
It does.
Like it just because you had Tetris Effect, like Journey, whatever the fuck, and I'm just
oh my
like,
God. Tetris Effect,
Tetris 99.
Tetris Effect had awesome music.
Yep.
I'm running on fumes today, so.
You're good.
Did you guys ever? I actually. You know what's crazy that you bring up Tetris is there was a game that is
Tetris.
similar to Tetris in the sense that like you combine certain things together so that they break. Have you guys ever heard the game Zuma?
No, not at all.
Zuma. It's a game where you play as a frog in the
Sounds
middle
like a
of like a
D's joke.
Zuma D's.
No, it's a real game. You can look it up. It's like
what did that Zuma do?
All right. But it's this game where it's a frog that shoots colored balls, and you have to match the colors at least 3 in a row for them to break. But if you have like, it's like, I guess it is more like Bejeweled than Tetris.
So we're busting balls.
But it's like in a line. I don't know how to describe it without just showing it.
Ball
But
busting.
it's not because it's in like a wavy pattern across the screen. It's not like in a neat row and column grid system. But I watched the speedrun of that today.
Right? There's like 30 bajillion games that operate like that, right?
Yeah,
am I crazy?
But I just know Zuma because that's the best one, dude. Speedruns of that are crazy because if there's a gap and the colors of the balls match, dude, it's like people beat that game so fast.
Zuma. So this is
It's not exactly like Bejeweled.
So,
it's not. It's
Zuma.
I see.
Zuma.
I
It's
see
like
what you're saying now.
No. Cole is actually correct for once. He's right. It's almost
Why
like
would I have
Balloons Tower
lied?
Defense was a puzzle game. That's kind of what it looks
that's
like.
a great way to put it.
No,
It kind of looks like.
It's really just like picture like Bejeweled, but it's just marbles rolling down a hill.
But that's so different because there's like lines of marbles being obstacles to the other marbles behind it. You can't do that in Bejeweled. You're pulling my leg. You're being a little troll. And I'm walking away from. I was trying to bring up something cool. I was trying to contribute to the podcast like a good person. Usually I don't do that. Usually I bring up
For the first
a
time
random
ever.
off-topic thing and then argue with Cosmic about like advertising or something, and then I walk my merry way. But no, the one time I tried
Before the podcast, before we press record.
Yep, and then the podcast that we actually record, I don't talk because I'm tired
for 45 minutes straight.
But it's a great
most
speedrun. Look up
episodes is
Zuma.
just Cole doing an idle animation. It's
Doing an idle animation is crazy.
Just like an NPC. Like I'm just waiting for somebody to interact with me to right click.
Speaking of right clicking to interact, I'm gonna right click and interact with Cosmic. Cosmic, do your ad. Just go ahead. Just
I was gonna wait until the end.
no,
honestly.
talk about your podcast now. Do it. Come on. He had to
Oh,
go
yeah,
on.
he betrayed
had to
us.
go
That's
on.
right.
Yeah,
He left the group.
Yeah, he left our podcast. He fucking betrayed us.
He
He took
took
PMC Trilogy away from us and did his own podcast.
I can't believe you.
So anyway, so I had in my mind a few months ago to do a like entirely speedrun discussion based podcast.
Yeah, it's because he actually hates us and he hates this podcast. And he's like, dude,
That's
I fucking hate the
crazy.
direction of this podcast. It's so dog shit. Like, I can't believe we just talk
I've
about
been saying
fucking
this.
nothing on this podcast. Dude, I want to talk about actual stuff. And then this fucking
I
Nestani
like-
guy just says TPQKJKT and then beams Tetris Rebirth, bro. Like, what's he doing? And so he started his own podcast. They called him the
I do
Cutie
like-
Cinderella
Oh my
of speedrunners.
God.
He just
Oh,
has 55
shit.
different podcasts.
That would be cool.
Except you're
55
not as
different
funny
ones.
as her, unfortunately. But
I mean, look,
Wow.
man, it's a high bar to clear.
there's
dude.
like barely any people that are like near the level of her funny. So it's
I've-
really not
I've
an insult.
never-
It was mainly just like a fact. Yeah.
I mean, I've never had a world record in baking cookies, so like, how funny can I
that's
really
true.
be? You know,
She really is
Yeah.
the funniest speedrunner.
You know, it's pretty great. Yeah. No, I mean, I remember you linking me that video, and I was like, holy shit,
Dude, it's gas.
She had everything. She had everything prepped, bro.
Just
She
prepped,
was
planned out, ready to
moving.
go. Yeah, dude, that shit was tight.
I don't think I've ever seen anything funnier than like someone understanding the assignment too well and just like making the shittiest cookies on earth to the point that like a leaderboard gets changed. To me, that is just like monumentally hilarious. And then she's on Twitter like, they're just scared of my world record. Like,
She's a game breaker, bro.
and I was dying. But yeah, so I have another podcast now called Never the Same Concern.
Hashtag
It's
ad,
basically
hashtag sponsored.
this is sponsored, yeah. So the way that I actually pitch this is that it's a podcast, like a discussion podcast for speedrunners by speedrunners. Because I mostly feel like a lot of speedrun content is about getting people into speedrunning and not so much for like people that are already in the hobby, which is what Never the Same Concern is going to be mostly like for. And obviously we're going to have to, say hi, people that might be here from the YouTube main page, that happen upon the podcast. But the majority of the content is going to be geared towards people that are already into speedrunning. And we're not going to like describe what gold splits are or what, I don't know, like what live split is.
How do I set up live split?
Or like PMC Trilogy says in the episode, he says SM64. We're not gonna say like Super Mario 64, the whole time or whatever. And like we just reference random games during that thing, and it's just like, yeah, if you know where to go to check out things, if you want to look at speedrun.com, like you know,
it's a podcast
you wanna
about
look at that sort of
SM64. Actually, that's the only game they talk about.
I would.
Yeah, I mean that's the only speedrun that matters.
I would have ended it all.
Other than like Tetris, it's just those two.
First of all, if I
People
had
insane.
PMC Trilogy on as my first guest and he said to me, I want to talk about SM64 for an hour, I would think that a scroll kidnapped his body. And I would be like,
Oh, what?
A scroll.
The scrolls in the
Marvel.
Marvel universe,
Yeah.
they're shapeshifters and they take the place of people in societies.
Well, see,
Yeah,
Jack,
it's a
you
really
can't say
cool
All I know about the
concept.
because
scroll
Harry
is the
Potter's
one
canceled,
character
you know.
Apology Man plays. I just know the character Apology Man plays. That's my frame of reference.
Yeah, he
Super
just
Scroll,
he just
yeah.
can't say Dementor anymore because of the cancellation of Harry Potter.
well,
So
I
he has to
actually
go
wasn't
a different
thinking about
direction.
Dementor, so
Yeah.
Those are two complete.
I wasn't
Not to
thinking
confuse
about
with
Dementors.
mentors, like a mentor that you have.
I mean, I could have just said
Dude,
shapeshifter.
I
would think that he was a shapeshifter.
Isn't it crazy how they took scrolls, which is such a cool concept in the MCU, and then they did, or they in Marvel comics, and then they did nothing with it in the movies at all.
Well, they had the TV show Secret Invasion, right?
Yeah, but who watched Secret Invasion?
I definitely didn't.
I watched the first episode and then I didn't at all.
Especially like once I saw that the intro was like all done with like machine learning, I was like, yeah, we're passing, bro. This
I
is not
forgot
it. We're done.
I forgot.
We're outta here.
Anyway, back to your betrayal.
Oh no, you're fine. I mean, it's fine.
I mean, he kind of got it. He got through it.
No,
He has a
Yeah, I was
speedrun
gonna say, yeah,
podcast. He
Eventually.
named his podcast a 4-word podcast, same as ours. He's biting our shit. Like, we get it. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Well, actually, so I named it. I actually named it a
Crazy.
4-word thing because the abbreviation for it is NTSC, and I want the ability to randomly talk about jank 6th gen games whenever I want. So if I decide I want to have NT1 Evolution and Dynamite Dan on one week to talk about the history of Dirge,
Bro,
and how it
that would be
finally got
so
to
fire.
GDQ. Yeah, that's
I would
might
like
do that
almost
for,
click on that to watch it.
almost would click on it. All right, fair enough.
I like almost would
Damn.
click on that.
Almost would click
We
on
should
it.
tell-
I'm gonna have Nestani on for the Lunistis history episode.
I would say you should have
There's
me on,
nothing to
but-
talk about, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 sentences. So I'm gonna be like, all right, we're gonna intro and everything, and Nestani will be like, I came and I got a better time than everybody by doing.
That'll
an
be your
outro."
first
And then
short.
I'll
That'll be your
then I'll
first short.
cut the I'll
pretty
just
much.
cut the podcast there. Yeah,
It's like I beat
And
this
just
race
print it
over
out on a
everyone,
shirt.
and then pack
you
it
go.
up.
Yeah.
Pack it up.
Pack it up, Dunzo. Yeah.
I packed
No,
up
but, I mean,
Jax's
it's
time,
also one
threw
of
it in the
those
garbage
things-
bin, said, "Get out of here, old man."
Thanks.
But it's also one of those podcasts where I really want to talk about stuff that might be on people's mind, but they talk about it in like a fleeting way.
The things
So,
people
like,
are too scared to say.
Yeah, basically
GQ's
two
dying,
things people are
guys.
Nuh-uh.
I will
Every
say
single
that, like,
event, by the way, guys. By the way, if you ever go to a GDQ, I've only been to 2, but I guarantee you this happens every single time. There's a group of people that will bring up, "Oh my God, is GDQ dying?" Every single event.
Yeah.
By the way,
Even
it
though they're,
happens
like,
every
at
single fucking year.
they're at max capacity for the event, and like there's still 65K people watching at minimum.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Dying?
Is GDQ
Nah,
dying?
nigga, I
Oh, we
don't
only
think
raised
so.
2.5 million for charity.
Dude,
Only
fucking, oh my
2.5.
God, only 2.5.
Every time I talk to my coworkers and I say, like, I don't pitch that I go, like, to them when I talk about my vacations, I talk about, like, playing video games for charity.
Yeah.
Right? Or talking about video games for charity. And they're like, "Oh, how much do you raise with those events?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, it's a big collective effort, but we usually raise about 2 or 2.5 mil." And they're always like, "Oh my God, what?" You know,
Yeah.
like,
Because it's
and
a
I'm
lot
like,
of money. Bro, even if we raised 1.5 or 1,
that's a lot.
still
Like,
a lot of
1
fucking
mil
money.
people are
If we
like
raised
impressed with.
2.5
Yeah.
million.
Yeah, literally as soon as you
2.5
say
million
like
raised.
1 milli, like a milli,
A million above.
I'm a
million above.
young
People are like,
millionaire,
"Oh man."
tougher than Nigerian.
You know-
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Were you?
It's a good
Shout out
song.
to the
Because here's
2
the
people
thing.
that know that song. Actually, there should be more people that know that song. None of these niggas know that song though. Go ahead.
I know of it. I've.
A milli, a
Oh, wait.
milli, a milli, a milli, a
Um.
milli, a milli,
Anyway,
a milli. It's a great song.
This is a question for everybody, but I kind of was thinking about it when Cosmic was talking about, like,
Tetris.
back when I worked at, like, the movie theater, or like when I was more insecure, I would have never ever even given a hint of the fact that I speed ran a game at all or anything like that.
Well, to be
Like,
fair,
did you
you were
guys-
surrounded
when
by
you
bitchy
started-
diva hoes, so like I don't think we could blame you.
I mean, that was at the movie theater, so usually the customers were the bitchy diva hoes, but there were still some bitchy
Same
diva
thing.
hoes in the staff. There, but like, were you guys ever like, not because speedrunning itself is like an embarrassing thing? It shouldn't be at all. Like, it's such a cool, fun thing for people to do. But like, was there ever a time with speedrunning where you guys were just like, I'm not gonna tell like anybody about this outside of like the community? Because I was like that for a long time.
I can go really quickly
I mean,
if
I
you
can-
want, because I have a
Yeah,
really
go for
short answer. The
Maybe you
answer
guys
is
just have a
no,
bigger
because I was
conference.
already an adult when
Yeah.
I started speedrunning, and I was already in college. So like,
Yeah.
it would just be a thing where like I wouldn't offer the information to people of what I do. Like, I don't tell anyone about my stream or anything that I do like IRL, but that's just because I don't really tell anyone about anything that I do ever, because I don't like attention, which is funny because here we are
Yep.
doing this, but like in real life it's different, where I'm like, please don't talk to me. And so like I remember like when I first went, because like I'm a part-time worker, like last year when I went to GDQ last year for the first time, I just told them, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to this video game convention. Like, I'll be back in like a week, and they're like,
Yeah.
cool. that was
Explaining speedrunning to people who know nothing about video games is genuinely one of the worst experiences one
Yeah.
can have.
Which is why I
Yeah,
just don't-
exactly.
That's why I just said video
Yeah.
game convention. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, cool, have
Yeah.
fun. And I was like, I will.
I mean, I usually, if people ask me about it or whatever, which is rare because most people just don't get it, and I've come to accept that. You know, like,
Yeah.
I usually just say, well, my hobby is I try to play video games as fast as possible. You know, and that's really
They're
just
like,
about
wow, dude, what a loser.
it. I mean, that's fine too. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, I only have to see them for 8 hours.
I mean,
a
at
day,
the end
and
of the
then I
day,
just
what they
leave.
do is that they
So-
go home and they just watch TV for like 6 hours and then don't
Pretty
do
much.
anything else with their
Exactly.
life. So like, really, like,
Who's really the loser? And
Yeah.
I'll tell you who. It's the people that got externally hired before me and make more money than me. But that's why I left that company. So it's fine. So the
Shade.
thing is like, what's it called? What was I gonna say? But like I said, I mean, I just kind of realized that people really aren't going to understand every hobby, right? I think that there are some culturally acceptable variations of everything. I mean, there's culturally acceptable drugs, and that line is pushing forward too. You know,
Yeah,
culturally
shouts to
acceptable
fentanyl.
drugs such as Fentanyl, alcohol,
Same playing
paint.
field.
Yeah, honestly.
alcohol, weed now. I mean, before weed was not, like socially acceptable or culturally acceptable except out of certain states, but now it's pretty.
Now it's just
It's
like
pretty
everyone
ubiquitous.
smokes.
Yeah, now
Literally
everybody
every single
smokes
person.
weed, yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone
Pretty
does it.
much,
And it's
yeah.
just like, oh, okay.
It's yeah.
And I hate
cigarettes
it, but whatever.
too, honestly.
Well, cigarettes have been
More
normalized
peop-
since like the 1940s. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, but
It's
that's
like
also
the dawn of time. It feels like
marketing opportunities too.
tobacco
I mean,
in
that's the
general.
thing is that they just marketing people just have to realize where the opportunities to do this are, and then they'll be all right. But,
by this, audio listeners, he was actually making a hand motion gesturing that he was jerking off.
yeah,
Yeah.
they want to jerk off with.
we
money
all had to
in
watch
games,
that.
So
by the way.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really made everyone
So-
here uncomfortable.
It felt slightly
I
predatory.
forgot to sleep.
I'm gonna be real.
I forgot about the auditory listeners, so it's fine.
Yeah. Shout outs to
called-
Cosmic for his workplace hostility on the Etna podcast set.
Yeah.
You know me, man.
Do I?
I bring.
I
all
thought I
the
did, but
hostility
apparently
to
you're
the
jerking off
workplace.
underneath the table. So I guess I know less about you than I thought I did.
Underneath.
He's doing it in front of us.
Well, yeah,
He's
it's off
not
camera.
shy.
It's off camera. Okay.
So
Don't be shy.
yeah,
Pour some more.
I mean, I will say too that like
I
I think that with video games as like a pastime or like as an entertainment thing, people are a little more accepting of
Yeah.
it now than they were like, I don't know, 16 years ago or maybe 14 years
Oh,
ago. Or
yeah.
whatever
Yeah,
the fuck,
I mean that's
right?
that's
You
what I
know?
said to
Yeah.
my like fucking like
Yeah.
80 or like 60, 70-year-old like employees that I was just like, yeah, I'm going to a video game convention. I was like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They
It's
just
like-
accepted it.
I
Like,
remember-
there was no further like information gathering. They were just like, okay, cool, have fun. Because
Yep.
video games are just it's like movies or like a concert.
Yeah, now,
it's whatever.
and they
It's the
weren't
same
viewed as that before.
thing.
They were like viewed as less than that,
Yeah,
right?
they were.
For a while, because I remember like telling somebody that like wanted to switch with me, like at work when I was like, 18 or 19 or whatever. They were like, "Hey man, I kind of want to go to the beach. Like, can you switch with me?" And I was like, "No, I would rather actually be playing Final Fantasy 13 right now." And so I
Damn,
just
what a
didn't.
fucking loser.
So I just didn't like want to switch with them, right? And to them, they were just like, "Well, you're not doing anything anyway." And I'm like, "Yes, I am. I'm playing Final Fantasy 13." Like,
It's the same thing as going to the beach.
exactly, right? For me, anyway. I mean, you walk in lines in both things, so it's fine. You walk in a straight line in
Yeah,
Final
fetch
Fantasy
quest,
13. You
As
walk
opposed
in
to a gay
a straight
line.
line on the beach. But anyway, so I think that, but the thing is, right, is that not everybody's really going to understand your hobby. And when you're kind of, I guess, selling that to coworkers, like we call them normies, but I feel like that's, I don't know, it's a little reductive, but at the same time, it's like some people just aren't going to get
I
it.
agree. I mean,
Right,
I view
you
that
know?
the same way with like music. Like a lot of people don't actually listen to music, right? They just like listen
Yeah,
to the
they're
top
just-
charts and like whatever floats up to the
Yeah.
top, and that's it. Like they don't actually listen to music. But then they all say, by the way, just minor bone pit, they all say that they listen to everything, and I'm like, no, you don't.
You listen to Drake.
It's just like
Drake is your
they
favorite
listen
rapper.
they listen to what they percue as everything, right?
yeah.
Or
Which,
what
like,
is perceived by the wide
to me
spectrum.
or Cosmic or anyone that's like Cole, I think, who I don't know, he kind of only listens to Beatles, but like to people who I'm just messing, to people who actually like listen to like a lot of music, then like you could infer them as normies as we infer to non-video game people as normies,
Yeah,
right? It's like you can almost do that with any genre. Like I would be like a movie like normie, like Cole would call me a movie normie because I haven't seen shit.
Yeah, I knew too that like there. I think the breaking point for me, because like there was a time where I was like
Breaking
trying
Benjamin.
to get people to understand like what I was doing on Twitch, and I was like telling coworkers that I had, right? And I think that
Massive mistake.
yeah, well, I mean, it was because it was like I was trying to sell that like, oh, this is technically like contract work, and like trying to get them to understand like this as what people
That's
can do as
true,
a
you are
career.
famous.
You know, I'm totally not, but anyway.
Hey, you make more money than me.
That's fair. I think the breaking point for me was like sitting down at lunch with like one of the pharmacy techs that I worked with at another store, and I explained all this stuff to him, and he just responds with, "Did you play the new Call of Duty?" And I was like,
damn it.
no, actually, I don't like that game. And then just like, I was like,
No, actually, kill yourself now.
and then I was like, no, I actually really don't like that game. And then I just like got up to go and get like a drink from the front and then just stopped talking to him. Because I was like, you literally have not heard a word I've said. You've just literally just talked past me.
You heard, but
Yeah,
you
most
did
people
not
don't
listen.
care.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like,
You hear, but you do not listen. You see, but you do not observe. There are so many
Exactly,
people
yeah.
who are like that, and it's the worst.
Yeah, it's like me
Yep,
on this
but-
podcast every week.
Yeah. Yeah.
and I mean,
Dang.
So
felt
now,
that one
like-
in my sternum.
That was me last
now I've
episode,
cried-
man.
now I've kind of like learned to talk about stuff other than video games. Like I talk to my coworkers now about like, you know, my
Politics.
exercising and no, I'm not talking to them about politics.
Oh, thank
Are you
God.
talking about rucking and tucking?
Yes, I am actually.
Damn, you're sharing your tuck with the class? That's crazy.
Are you going to be
Gang,
tucking
gang.
and participating in Locktober?
Don't say
Cosmic?
gang gang. You're not allowed to. You're too pale to say that. As someone who is also too pale to say that, you can't say
That's
that.
fair. I'll be participating in Goktober though.
I don't know what that is.
Google it. You'll find out.
No,
I hate you, Cosmic.
I'm all right. I will not be Googling anything.
Mods, activate the contraption.
actually. Unleash the weapon.
Unleash the weapon.
Anyway.
Sometimes I
so,
wish
All right,
Use
Jaxler, you can
Discord.
answer Cole's question now that we had the 10-minute cosmic dissertation.
What was the question? I don't even remember what the
yeah.
question was.
It was just like along the lines of like, did you go about like when you started speedrunning? Were you very open about speedrunning, and did you talk to people about it IRL immediately, or did you kind of keep
I-
it as like a secret thing to
I
yourself?
told my family about it, but I didn't. So here's the problem, Cole.
Yeah,
I
Cole.
didn't have friends.
Yeah, you fucking insensitive
Asshole.
fucking pussy ass.
I didn't have friends.
well,
so
you got like 3 now, so
I have
you're
at
in
least
the world.
3, and
Yeah.
this really goes to show where my life is at this point. But yeah, no, I didn't really have anyone like where I grew up in Indiana. It's like there wasn't really anyone to even talk to video games about, let alone who gave a fuck about speedrunning. That's
Yeah.
changed a little bit nowadays, but it's just like, no, thank you.
One of the
Yeah.
advantages of Delaware being so small, honestly, is that like
Delaware.
if people want to meet up for like video game or nerd related shit, we're all probably 30 minutes to an hour within each other, you know, like within each other. So
In each other. They're in each
yeah,
other.
we're all in each other actually. The entire Delaware fighting game scene is fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Ugh,
yeah,
you hate to see it.
we're all rucking as well.
Oh my god, it just
and
keeps
participating
happening.
in tucking.
No, we're not all actually rucking, but anyway.
But some of them are tucking.
I don't know my friends rucking, tucking, and fucking. This sucks.
But yeah,
This is why I've been
RTF,
saying we
man.
should abolish sex. Okay. Anyway.
RTF baby, RTF.
RTF.
like I'm gonna try and veer away. I'm gonna try and move on.
Let's
trying to move away.
Please get me away from the
I think-
Discord.
I think this is the first time when I've heard Cole say stop. No.
Because I don't even know.
this is too much for my
Probably
Midwestern
is the first.
sensibilities.
Cole actively trying to stop the conversation instead of letting it pass by him. It's really a big win for the Cole community, dude.
All right, what were you going to say, Mr. O2?
I was gonna say that I speedran for basically like 2 years and didn't tell a living soul in real life. Like I said nothing.
Yep.
I didn't even tell my parents about this hobby until like 2022, which was like almost a little over 2 years after I started. And yeah, it's weird trying to explain it to people, but I feel like at least in my age group, it's extremely easy because they probably have seen a summoning salt video or something kind of more shallow waters of
They
the
watched
iceberg.
Ludwig. Guys, do you
Yeah.
want to talk about the
Or,
Fast 50
you know,
event
whoever.
again for no reason?
Again.
Well, I was gonna actually like make a joke about like, oh yeah, that was that game that was in Ludwig's trailer when we were talking about Tetris.
That would have been a good one. You should have slung that.
Yeah, but I didn't want to interrupt, so you were on a roll. So
I interrupt you all the time. That's fine.
well,
People have been
that's
saying
fine.
this.
Yeah.
Are you done yet?
Were you
I
done, by
should
the way,
give
Cole?
you. Yeah, sure.
Keep going. Yeah,
But
you're good.
I actually,
You're not good.
I did have something to say, and now I don't remember what I was going to say.
I
It
don't
was
remember
something
what
I
you
know
related
how we
to.
feel.
Cool. Well, I guess that means my words mean nothing.
No, it just means that I can't focus on
That's
anything
fine.
ever.
Yeah.
Because
I
I'll
heard a
be
great-
halfway
I mean,
through a
that's fair.
sentence and I'll have forgotten the first half of the sentence and I'll be like, where
Oh,
was
yeah.
I going with this?
Where are we?
Do you
Yeah,
guys know who
and-
you guys know who Adam Conover is, right?
Oh, yeah, that guy. With
From
the
Adam
blonde
Ruins
hair.
Everything.
No.
So he recently
Oh,
had
yeah,
a.
okay.
White people
So
know who
he-
this is.
Oh, okay.
He
white people. This is white people thing. Okay, I'll just.
Yeah.
No. You'll be good. You'll get it because put the headphones back on. I'm gonna explain.
Wait, King James?
King
Guys,
James.
King James and Bronny just went on the court together for the first
Holy
time for
shit,
about
he's
8
the Bible.
minutes. It was really cool, and they crowned him king. By the way, he scored like 19 points and like 2 blocks, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, and like 16 minutes. It was crazy.
Cosmic just
This
threw
guy's
something. Cosmic
Oh
is
my
rebounding
god, how
water
many
bottles
water
throughout
bottles
this
do you
room.
have on your desk,
Oh
dude? You
wait,
gotta,
so
you
yeah,
gotta
we're
tidy.
talking about white things. Let me
Just
take
those
my
two.
headphones back off. Go ahead.
I was gonna actually relate this back to Nestani himself, honestly. So it's a shame that he's not wearing his headphones right now. He should put them back on so that he can hear this thing. Because
That can't be good for the that can't
No,
be good
not
for the
at all.
audio.
But anyway.
That can't be good.
So Adam
Anyway.
Conover in his new comedy special, Unmedicated, which is on the Dropout network. It's like one of the cheapest streaming services there is, but it's all
I've
original
never heard of
content. It's the College Humor people, but now it's called Dropout.
Okay.
In that
Okay.
in the Unmedicated comedy special, he was talking about his ADHD and like how distracted he would get all the time, and he said that people should just kind of embrace getting distracted because it's maybe telling you that you're bored by what you're doing. So you can go and find, basically something else to be actually interested in rather than like, like scroll through something that you're clearly bored with.
Is that why
right?
Cole
Or, like-
always asks you if you're done yet or not? Or
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know why that happens, but
Oh.
I assume
Yeah.
that's because he wants to talk about those Sonic games he's going to buy. So
and how advertising doesn't work
I got
on
no
him.
money to buy them. I got no money to buy them. I've got not a penny.
yeah, I mean,
No,
to
dude.
me that sounded. Go ahead, my bad. Yep.
All right.
I was more invested
sorry.
in your point, Cosmic. Please go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, go.
Wow.
Go.
all right.
Damn.
All right, so basically, like I was thinking about it because, like, there are plenty of shows that like I've phone scrolled on, but whenever I watch a show that like I'm really invested in, for example, like I remember watching all of Californication recently, and there's 7 seasons of that.
I think I made this joke literally
show.
last time you talked about the show anyway.
Probably, yeah. Or like.
Because I remember. I was
first
like,
so
California
funny.
Love.
The first time that I watched Breaking Bad, or recently I've been watching a show called Better Things. It's about an actress raising 3 daughters in LA and like the struggles that she has internally and externally. And like whenever I've I'm also a single mother. So whenever I
Holy shit. You got pregnant? That's crazy.
3
I
times.
can't believe
dude.
mpreg is real. That's insane.
Pregnant.
True. Look at Death Stranding.
Big day for the big day, honestly, for the mpreg community. That's unbelievable.
So whenever I'm like watching these shows that I'm just really like that are just captivating, essentially, like I'm not bored, I'm not reaching for my phone, I'm just watching them, and I'll just sit there and watch them for like hours or whatever. And when I turn on a show and I'm like, my first instinct within the first 5-10 minutes is to just like, all right, well, let's see what's going on Discord. Oh, Nestani posted in
Group
channel.
masturbation.
So like when I'm concerned more about watching the next cutie clip that he's posted in group masturbation,
Yeah.
which is insane out of context to say.
Let's keep it out of context.
I agree.
No.
People aren't
if
allowed
out
to
of
know about
like if that's my first instinct within the first 5 to 10 minutes of a show, maybe I just need to pack it up and find something else to do, man.
Pack it up.
Pack it up, bro.
I
Guys,
love
I
packing
send
up.
memes in group
Pack it up
masturbation,
so
okay?
good.
I just want to clarify. We're not.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
you do
we're not
sound-
actually
we're not-
crank yanking it together. That's
Yeah,
not
we're
what's
not.
happening.
No.
Not
yeah.
yet. We got to wait
Not
until
yet!
episode 20 for that. So
Jax's reaction to that.
I don't want to participate in GROUP. Okay,
I would never make Gibson watch that. Don't worry. So
I mean, Gibby's watched.
oh, I thought that was Gibson.
No, Gibby over there has seen some shit.
Okay.
I'll just put it that way.
Well, that's Gibson next to you, right?
Yeah, this is Gibson.
No, that's
He's
Blackside.
much more innocent.
He's more
I
innocent.
thought that was a Whopper.
Bless ye, young child.
Thank you.
So
Wait, where were you tying this back to?
I don't know.
basically, I was
You
just
started
saying
with
that,
like this comedian talking about ADHD, and then I was invested, and then you just started talking about TV shows you were watching, and you lost me. So.
I mean, again, my point was that like I wasn't distracted by like while I was watching the show because it was good.
Oh, you weren't
And
distracted by
if
Keith
I'm
Cinderella.
not-
Okay.
Yeah. Like so, exactly. So if the thing that you're doing is legitimately interesting to you, I feel like it's a lot easier to just not be distracted by it. And then people like try to get through the distractions by like when they're watching like junk food TV or they're playing a game that they're kind of like whatever about, right? But maybe you should just take the hint that like it's just not that interesting to you and just move on.
And
some
that's
people
why
like
I don't
play
watch
through
TV shows. Or
and
movies.
some people will like play through games and just
Or video
I remember
games.
watching some streamers like do their first time playthroughs and they're just like yapping over all the cutscenes and like just clearly just trying to power through them for FOMO basically purposes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, just pack it up and just like move on to the next
Just
thing.
pack
Like,
it in. Ruck it
it
in.
relates back to like the idea of like a backlog too. Like people are like, oh man, I really got to get through like these 90 games in my backlog before I can play this thing. And then like a new game comes out and they're like, well, that's getting added to the backlog. I think I'll play that now. Oh wow, I still got 89 games to go through in the backlog. And it's like, dude, you're not playing that shit for like another 5 years. Don't even think about that shit. Like, don't even think about that shit in terms of like
Just exist.
shit to cross off a list. Like, you're just going to get distracted by other crap. Just take the distraction and go with what is actually interesting to you in the moment. It's when people try to like when people try to plan out like content that they're going to do for like a year and it's like purpose driven or like goal driven content, like just go with the flow. You
Like
know, like
that guy?
I remember somebody.
Like that
I'm
famous
sorry,
YouTuber
Cole.
guy over there?
I'm about to wrap up. I'm really sorry.
That's what
Like I
Cole
had a
does.
buddy that 3 different times mapped out like a speed run list that he was going to do, and he started out like coming back and doing like one game, and then the next week he had like an entire spreadsheet of like 3 different series and 15 different categories he was going to do over the next year. And I was like, dude,
You talking about
if you stick
Jaxler?
to this, no, I'm talking about
Thanks.
my buddy the Scruffington.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, Jaxler
I
did
was
that
like-
too. I also
I
did
do that,
too.
but I actually do eventually get to those.
You do actually do it, but
I have an
like-
excuse. I'm diabetic, okay? I God is trying to kill me.
I have an excuse. I hate speedrunning, so I stopped doing it.
Damn.
God's trying to kill us all. That's why you're dying from the moment you're 26, technically. That's when your body starts decaying. So
I'm about to
Cool.
start
the
dying.
thing, too, is that, death. We're so hyped.
Yay!
Anyway, so,
Wow.
like, but I would look at these spreadsheets, and I think on the second or third time, I said to my friend, like, look, dude, I want you to come back to speedrunning as much as the next guy. And, like, I'm really excited to see you run some of these categories that you have on this list. But you got to be careful because you're going to burn yourself out just looking at this shit, And he eventually learned that, like, yeah, this is what's happening. Like, I'm burning myself out just looking at this shit because he would get distracted by other interests. And it's like, don't hold yourself to that sort of fucking, hands tied scenario. Just let that shit go, bro.
See, that sounds like because I mean, if there's anything that I've learned in the past year of my life is that my brain is just a hurricane. It's just a thunderstorm that is always just got a huge trail of thought going, and I can just go in a completely different direction than I even intended to, even if I set a goal. And with something like that, where it's like, oh, I've made a list. Like, I've done that with, like, albums before. Where, like, I'm going to listen to this and then this and then blah, 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 blah. And it's like, all right, I'm setting the goal, but I don't have, like, the system of progress to actually have me reach the goal.
Yeah.
Like, I have the endpoint in the map, but oh my god, I got an eyelash in my eye! Oh! Oh! There we go. Sorry. That really hurt.
Audio listeners, Coley just came.
Yeah, he just nutted in his own eye. That's why it burned.
Oh, I'm tearing
everywhere.
up now. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
He was tearing up. It was so
Pack it
good.
in.
He almost passed out
that's
like
not
Cosmic
what
did.
it was. Stop. That's... But,
Pack it in.
no, dude. So here's the thing about,
Keep it
like,
together.
just,
Clock in.
yeah, I'm sorry. That was, yeah. All right.
Ooh, nice line, bro. You got that nice shave line there. Looks good down there. He's doing good on his trim job.
Cosmic.
No, not you, nigga. Fucking Cosmic.
Oh,
I was talking to Cosmic.
all right.
Not
Well,
everything's about you. Fucking famous
my
YouTuber
God,
guy.
there-
all right.
God. Is everyone okay?
What is
Fucking
it?
500,000.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. Oh my god.
Right? There's so much hostility
But,
going on today. I think we should all live, laugh, love.
The triple
Yeah,
L.
just like the
Not to be
anyway.
confused with
More like
LLL,
laughs
more
and
like Little Lava Land or whatever the fuck it's called in SM64. I don't know what this shit's called. I just know the
All
level's
right.
called
Well,
LLL.
anyway, I'm gonna bring it back because
Go
I was
for
gonna
it.
say
Go
some
for it, Cole.
some shit. I was gonna lay down some shit.
You're gonna shit. Okay.
So
Audio
like
listeners, Cole's
I
taking off his pants,
get
he's shitting.
What's happening right now? What?
what are we doing? Apparently,
what
I'm
just
taking
happened.
off my pants and I'm defecating in my room. That's apparently what's happening right now. Audio listeners love you to death.
I don't know why, but just adding audio listeners onto the end of that joke fucking killed me.
Anyway, so here's what happens when I have a discussion, apparently as well, or just wanting to do anything.
Hey, Cole, you done
I get
yet?
fixated on a thing, like YouTube or shitting, for example. God, guys, come on. Usually I'm the person you gotta bring it together. You guys are
Trying
all...
to hold it together, man.
Holy
Just
crap.
think about it, like think about like driving in your car, right? And then you just be like, he's running the red light. He almost hit that pedestrian. Audio listeners.
That was what news radio was. That's really what it was. It was literally a guy in like a studio saying, "Audio listeners love you to death, but they just hit the second tower." Like that's like the same thing. Like that's just what radio
Audio
was for
listeners that just hit the
decades.
Pentagon.
Yeah.
A second plane has just hit the audio listener.
Oh my god.
All right, Cole, go on with your third
Audio
plane and tell
listeners,
us what
John
you're
Lennon
gonna-
has
you're
been
gonna
taken
say.
care of.
My third plane.
Yeah, go ahead. I promise I won't interrupt you this time. Maybe.
Third take.
Give me a
Let's
sec.
get it together.
Give me a sec. Keep going. I'm gonna need a moment.
You said give me a second now and keep going. Which one do you want?
And
going.
action.
Go ahead.
All right. The problem is like, what if you get distracted by literally anything and then you can't focus on one thing and then you're just like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing?
Oh, so me basically.
That's, well, I wasn't going to say that, but I mean,
I think.
no, I'm just joking.
I think the answer
That's
there,
me.
right, is to just kind of do like what you're naturally gravitating to repetitiously, right? Like if you're getting distracted by something, even in small increments, there's clearly like an underlying desire to do it, you know? Like, I mean, for example, too, again, we're just going to use speedrunning because, yeah. But like Gungrave Gore got a new patch recently, and I like kept thinking about it. I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, man, that run's kind of whatever. And then I just kept thinking about playing the game, and I'm like, you know, I could just... And I like booted it up, and I'm like, yeah, I could just do another stream of this. So I did like another stream of it, and then yesterday I was like labbing something in the game to see if like a skip still existed. And I was like, I could fire up the alt channel and just do a couple of runs. But it's just like, even though I think that run is kind of meh, like I really love that game, and I just keep coming back to it periodically because I'm just like, I'm just gonna do it, man. Like I just feel like playing the game. Fuck it, you know.
He's gonna
and
do it.
I might not run it like for another 3 months or something, or whatever. Whenever they release new characters, but I just keep coming back to it because it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
just might as well.
That's fair. I tend to value sessions of like deep work where it's much longer increments of time when you're working on something in a guys. Please. We need to keep it together.
No, we don't. That's not what people watch us for.
You're right. Actually,
I'm still thinking
so
about
true.
the poor audio listeners, man. So
Yeah, they're probably poor as well. Go ahead. They're probably
I
not as
can't
poor as
believe the
Cole,
audio
though,
listeners
they're
killed
driving to work,
Saddam
and Cole doesn't have
Hussein.
a
That's
job. Go ahead, Cole.
crazy.
Anyway, thanks. Well, that actually. So here's the thing as well is like, I like these sessions of deep work. Like when I work on like YouTube stuff, or even when I did have a job, I like kind of the structure of a job where you go in for a big segmented amount of time in an environment where it's not distracted. Like if I did remote work, I would be the worst. Like I would just be like so distracted because I'd probably be doing it right here, and
such
this
a
is
good
like
job at remote work. I'm on it, dude. I'm really good at
that's
it.
great.
The great thing about remote work
I'm
is
glad
if you get
you're-
it done
yeah.
really quick, you can just take a nap. And they won't know.
that's true.
Yeah.
No, I'm
But-
on the clock the whole time, always doing
I
work.
think that this is a legitimate thing that I hear a
Yeah,
lot from
right.
other people. Like at my job, is the kind of the sentiment that Cole's echoing here, is that a lot of people don't necessarily trust themselves to not be distracted and like, do their job.
Exhibit A.
And to be productive. But I think that there is, to some degree, right? Like I think, Cole, that if you were doing, let's say you were doing YouTube full time, right? A lot of that is self-instructed, right? I would call it that, or intrinsically instructed, or the pedagogy of discomfort, essentially. Which, all right, I haven't.
I know
explained
what
it,
that
but-
word means, and I'm still
Yeah.
upset that you used it.
So essentially,
This
like,
fucking
Everybody was
pretentious
baffled hearing
This is
that.
why he
I
fucking
was-
started his own goddamn podcast so he could say these fucking stupid ass words and get away with it, man.
PMC never questioned my vocabulary. Shout out to PMC
Yeah,
Trilogy.
that's because
So-
PMC Trilogy is smarter than all four of us put together.
I don't know about all that, but
He's like, PMC Trilogy is like a dad if he didn't have children. You know what I mean? Like, he just has dad energy.
although I would call
don't-
Diego
okay.
his kid, his dog Diego. It's definitely his
fucking
kid.
dog parents.
Oh, I thought you were talking about, like, Dora.
Anyway. Doot, Dora.
So,
Oh, anyway, go on with what you were saying.
Dora.
Or unless I've anyway. Here you
I
go.
think you should
I mean, I was
both
gonna
give your
say-
points right now, but both of you do it at the same time.
Yeah, I was gonna say same time.
would be good. That would
Basically,
be
I was
content.
gonna say like I think it's probably harder to do work for yourself in a distracting environment than it would be to do for like a company. Like if you were required to be like logged in and doing stuff, like let's say you worked for like a call center, right? Obviously those distractions aren't going to matter because you got to be taking calls the whole time. So it probably largely depends on the structure of the job itself too.
I would agree with that. As someone who actually works from home, like, no meme, I get a lot more done when I work at home, but also it's the content of my work. My work is literally editing YouTube videos. I like doing that already. And also the content that I shoot is also like going in my portfolio and stuff like that. So there's even more layers. And so for me to sit down and actually do work at home is really easy for my current job because I already like doing the thing. Now, if I was like a fucking tax person working from home and like doing some bullshit on the computer, then I would probably be like, where's the Bubsy stream? Put it up. You know what I mean? But now I only put Bubsy stream up like half the time, like when I'm making thumbnails.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll ever have this happen. Like, obviously, I am like chronic ADHD, can't get meds. But like, do y'all ever have the thing where you get like you space out so hard that when you like pop back in, you realize like, oh, I wasn't processing like vision at all. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
do that
I've
on
said
the
that
road.
before.
Oh God. Well, no. Here's the funny thing. I do too.
Usually after a few
Nestani knows
millilights,
this.
you know?
Nestani is aware of this, but I also
Okay,
do that.
here's the thing. We do it differently. I do it safely because I just don't veer. This guy literally doesn't pay attention to anything, right? Like, I'll zone out on the road, but if something moves quickly or moves like you know on the road where you're like driving and you're not really paying
Yeah.
attention, and then something does something
Well,
and you
yeah, no,
snap
that-
into
I did-
attention.
Yeah, like on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've also done the thing where like I'll be driving down a road that I've driven down like 500 times, and I'll be like, oh, I'm at the end of this road where my
Yeah.
turn is, and I just don't
yeah.
remember the
Yeah.
rest of it. Right.
Fortunately, I only have to drive 10 minutes to work in a straight line.
Yeah.
now.
Sounds fucking nice, man.
Yeah, good. Yeah, cool.
I have to drive to work every single day this week because one of the guys is out, so I have to.
Dude, you could ruck
You hate
to
to see
work.
it.
6 days a week? No, I
could.
can't, bro.
But
It's
it
like
would-
20
it would
years
take
Can
old.
you
like
not
an hour.
rock in
I'm
public?
talking to- I'm
please?
talking to
Thank you.
Yeah, you're talking to Cosmic.
It
Sorry.
would-
I
it
was
would
making
take
it
an
about
hour for
me,
me to
much
walk
like you
there.
like to do, Cole. I was making it about me. You know?
It's really easy to do, man.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
making it about me.
Yeah,
Except
we
when
know.
it's
That's
bad,
why
then I
you're
don't
trying to
want
be
it.
a famous YouTuber. We get it. We know. Go ahead, Cosmic.
I was gonna say it was gonna take me an hour to walk to work if I was walking.
What's happening?
So I'm gonna go
I
and
didn't mean to
grab.
torture
Out of
that
every
hard, Cole. I'm
episode,
sorry.
every episode, I feel like I get attacked, which is fine. But this one is like
Yeah,
That was
I
a little
kinda-
close to
I kind of
chest.
gunned you down a little bit there. I apologize. I'm
that
sorry
one.
for that one.
Like I feel like the mob came after me with that one.
Whoa, you can't just call me part of the mob just because I'm black. That's kind of crazy, dude. You got to walk that one back.
Kind of racist.
The mob's
It's
coming
kinda-
after
it's a
him.
little
They've got
racism.
guns, audio listeners.
That's a little bit of a racism, as I would like to say.
I'm
Yo,
just gonna-
racism gaming?
I'm just gonna
Holy shit.
stay here the rest of the podcast.
Okay, go ahead.
Dang.
Have fun.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't have anything to pivot to from this.
Yeah, I don't know.
My topics
I'm
were Tetris and
I was-
Cosmic, and you three are supposed to bring up topics. I
I'm
don't know.
dissociating,
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
I'm just hanging
All
out
right,
with my
let me-
good pal
Are you
Gibson.
dissociating?
Look
Okay,
at
hold
him.
on. Are you
Look how
are you
cute he is.
dissociating or are you playing Hearthstone? Because these are two very
Ooh,
different
that's a good point.
things.
That's a good point.
That is a
Both.
good point.
That's a really good point.
At the same
am-
time,
Yes.
have you won? Have you
No.
won?
No, he fucking
All right,
sucks
well,
at the game, man.
I keep getting my
Lock in,
ass
bro.
beat because I keep missing turns because I'm dissociating. This shit
Yeah,
sucks.
that sucks. I gotta say that
It's
sucks.
pretty rough
Oh,
out
yeah.
there.
Jackson, you're
I
playing
guess I got
Magic the
something to pivot
Gathering.
to. Usually, audio listeners.
No, I'm not smart enough to
You
play
don't know
Magic.
this, but
Yeah,
our
you
video
don't.
watchers
Yeah.
will know this. I usually have a bookcase behind me, but I decided to set up this thing
Oh,
behind me.
yeah,
This
that's
big
true.
ass media storage of all my video games and some other doodads and stuff. Let me tell you about the journey that I went on for
Oh,
this.
no.
It's going to be very boring, so strap in for a
Oh,
good 20
okay.
seconds.
Don't worry. I'll pivot
Basically,
if it gets too boring.
all right, sick. So basically, this thing was. I thought
So
it was
gu-
going to come Sunday. It ended up.
I knew you were gonna do that. I saw it
Honestly,
in the look in your
props, dude.
eyes that you had
Props.
that glare.
So good. So good. Man, the foreshadowing there just top notch. So this thing came early, and I was
Not to
like,
be
well, I
confused
guess
with
I'll just
Shadow
put
X
it
Sonic
tonight.
Generations, the game that Cole is not going to buy
Cole is
because he
going
did
to
not
buy.
get advertised
He's going
from.
to buy
I'm
it.
not gonna buy it. I don't got money.
He don't got funds, bro. Bro's wallet is
Wait,
shrunk.
speaking of Cole's
So-
background, isn't that a Sonic poster at the top of his bookcase thing? Isn't that
It
a
is.
Sonic?
It's signed by Roger Craig Smith, the voice actor of
Oh
Sonic.
yeah, he also did the voice actor
When I had
for,
money and
he
this
also
was
did
Ezio
voice actor for-
Auditoria from Assassin's
Isn't
Creed
Roger
2.
Craig
Chris
Smith
Redfield.
like the guy who plays James Bond and like?
No, you're thinking of
Taylor
What?
Swift.
It's not Renfield.
not Taylor Swift. You're thinking of
James Bond.
James Bond.
Daniel Craig, I
actor.
think.
Daniel Craig, yeah, that's
John
what
God
it
damn
is.
it.
Jacob Jingleheimer Smith. His name.
But anyway,
so
this thing
name
comes-
too.
And I'm like, well, it's Friday night. I might as well put it together. And I don't got nothing else going on. So I build this whole thing, and it takes a fucking long time to do. And I set it up like right where this other bookcase is over to my, well, I guess the camera's left.
Doesn't matter.
And I was like, oh, this is actually covering a vent, and it's not going to stand up on its own. So I had to take everything off this thing, roll up my bed so that there was room on the floor. And like my entire bedroom floor at this point is just covered in games and books. And I have to fucking move shit. And my roommate walks by and he just like looks at my room and he's like, what's going on? And then I explain, and then he just keeps walking by, and I'm like, thanks for the help. So
Yeah.
I would do
then
the
I just
same
said
exact thing.
I'm sure. Yeah. So then I
Actually, I
set
probably
everything
wouldn't even
up.
stop. I would probably just look and be like, oh. And then just keep going.
Damn, that
That's
sucks.
what I.
So,
Tough luck. Tough look.
Yikes.
Golly gee
Yikers.
willikers. So I set that thing up and then moved them both around, and now everything's good to go. But yeah, it was a journey of about 3 hours or so, reorganizing everything.
Yeah,
also
but I bet
did,
it
like,
felt
a bunch of-
rewarding, dude.
It did very much. There was
It's so
also
exhausting to reorganize shit, right?
It was. There was also
and
like
it feels good when you see it.
Like a 4 shelf of like things that I was using to hold a console. Now I just have that sitting in my closet, and then the consoles are actually just on this thing too. You can actually see the PS3 like right behind me. Sure. Sorry, audio listeners, you can't see it.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
You could look though while you're driving. Just pull it up.
You could, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if
Yeah,
you listen
just
to it on
pull up your
Spotify, you
phone.
actually already have the video, so you can just actually just unlock
for legal
your phone
reasons,
and
that
watch
is a
it.
joke. For legal reasons, that is a joke.
Completely serious.
But
I also have
yeah,
my
I
Xbox
understand-
One put away right now. Guys, do you want me to go get my...
I've already seen your Xbox
Repeat
One.
bit.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
There has to be a bit eventually that we just recycle without even acknowledging it. So hopefully,
I
you all
mean,
can tune in. For one of those.
G-R-O-U-P.
That's true. But is that a bit or is that just like
A way of life.
you? That's true. It's a lifestyle. Yeah, no, I absolutely forgot about
Lifestyle
that. Yeah.
A way of
Yeah.
life.
Lifestyle bit.
lifestyle
We can make a
diff
religion
is
out of
great.
this.
Ooh, a religion.
Speaking of lifestyle diff, Cole, you are just like dead. Are you okay? Do we need to wrap this
I
up?
like how what he needs to do is just like lip
okay, brother.
his nose over the pop filter. I feel like that would be really.
Yeah,
funny.
he just surgically removed his nose and replaced it with his pop filter.
Well, no, he just needs to.
Oh,
just
now it
do
looks like
that.
a
doesn't
funny
look
face.
the
Now I
same.
feel sad. Thanks for making me feel sad, Cole. That was really unkind of you. What an asshole.
Incredible.
What a fucking loser.
Yeah.
Finna yah.
That's what I do. It's like my favorite thing to
Yeah.
Also, quick aside, but I'm tired of hearing people say that Bloober cooked with the Silent Hill 2 remake when they didn't even write the fucking game.
Huh?
I'm sure it's
Remember
a.
PT?
I'm sure it's a fine
Pleasantly
game.
Twisted? Yeah, I remember PT. She's great.
It looks like a good game, but like people got to stop being like, oh, these people cooked, and I'm like, they had like 90% of the work done for them, bro. Like, let's
Yeah.
not get it twisted. Maxi Loeb said the other day they sous chefed, and I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good way of putting it. So that was just a quick aside. I'm also just tired of remakes, bro. But I'm not going to go on that tangent again. That we did like.
do.
Yeah, we already. You should check out a
17
previous
episodes
episode
ago.
we did.
Yeah.
17
17
episodes ago. That's a long
I'm gonna
time ago.
fucking
Yeah.
die. That's
I also
rough.
hate remakes. You know,
I don't like horror games.
I also
Cool,
don't
that's
like horror
fair.
Horror
games.
stuff in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
I'm too scared. I'm a bitch, dude.
I just think
Yeah,
they're
that's why
boring.
you're
We've
gonna
been
buy.
saying this.
That's why you're gonna buy Sonic X Shadow Generation.
We've been saying this. I mean,
No,
look at
dude,
the
Shadow's
slouch-
too scary,
look at the
bro.
slouched
He's too
beta
edgy.
male
Fair,
position
yeah.
you're in right
Bro
now.
has guns. That's scary.
Blop blop. Yeah.
Man, how do you
true.
exist
Yeah,
in
I
this
don't want him to
country if you're
chaos
scared of
control
a
me.
gun?
How does Cole look shorter than Cosmic?
Well,
right
he's
now?
basically like
That's fucked up.
Canadian light. So
That's true. He's close enough.
That
We
almost
dox
sounds
Cole.
right.
He's on the
Like-
northern coast of the United States.
Dude, honestly, I feel like I would enjoy Canada. I've never been there.
I,
but
too,
technically,
would
I
enjoy
have a
free healthcare.
driver's license
Honestly,
that can act as a passport.
in
to
in
get me
terms
over
of
there.
horseshoes and hand grenades, you're basically already in Canada. You're like close enough, dude. Yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
so.
just without the free healthcare.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, yeah, and we got
And the massive
Detroit.
inflation too. Don't
At least
forget
we're not
about that.
Cleveland, though.
Oh,
At least we're not Cleveland.
Cleveland,
Yeah.
this is for you.
Big
Yeah.
day for the
I
Cleveland
feel bad.
community.
Who's
I feel
Cleveland?
bad for the
and
Cleveland.
What are we doing for them?
LeBron
That's the guy
James
from
won
Family
the
Guy.
championship
We're
for
steaming
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Oh,
We're
okay.
steaming him
Yeah,
up.
remember the
Fair
guy from Family Guy?
Remember LeBron James
Yeah, I
in
remember him.
2016? He came down from a
LeBron
3-1
James.
deficit in the finals and won 3 games in a row over the Golden State Warriors, who had the best record in NBA history, 73-9, and he beat them to win the
Not sure I
championship in
remember that,
2016.
but you know what?
And then he shouted, "Cleveland, this is for you," because he gave the Cleveland Cavaliers their first NBA championship ever. And
That is
and
actually
listeners, you could
godlike.
give us your first comment ever by leaving it down in the description, or not in the description, in the comment section below. That was almost good, and then it wasn't. So I
Yeah, you
give
can
it. Don't
fuck
comment
dude.
actually.
You know, and
Honestly,
then you should go to
yeah,
Cosmic's
actually-
podcast and put like a bad comment
should
in there.
I agree.
Yeah, blame him.
the
Blame him. He betrayed us.
Grief, man. I mean, I'm still gonna be doing both podcasts.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
That's true.
Bro's a
Little
traitor.
podcast slut over there. He's a little slutty.
Sludding it up here. The most I've ever
By the
sludded
way,
it up in my
podcast
entire
listeners,
life.
3 days ago at 10 p.m., Jax did a GDQ hotfix. If you want to go watch that,
Yeah.
3 days ago.
I gotta get going in like a couple minutes, or else I get yelled at. So,
All right. Fair.
shout outs to Frog Monster. Oh, I guess last minute announcement. I got into Disaster Relief Done Quick, which is a marathon they're throwing together for GDQ for hurricane relief in the south. I'll be doing Pseudo Regalia 100% as a race with Killing Pepsi. It'll be
Probably the
it'll
day
be-
after this goes live, but in the morning, right?
It'll be
Like 8:30
Saturday.
a.m.
Oh yeah, it'll be Saturday night at like 11:30 p.m. Eastern.
Okay,
So-
cool.
So tomorrow
It'll
at
be the day after
11:30
this
p.m.
goes live.
Eastern.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Stick around for that. Do that, please.
Yeah,
Give me your
make sure you
attention.
also like and subscribe to the podcast. Check
Please,
us out
we would
on
love
Twitter.
to monetize the channel.
Yes, true.
That's true.
ETNA so we can give Nestani back some money for all the
Yeah, please.
editing he does.
Yeah.
Honestly,
For
Please,
literally
I'm
hard
broke
carrying
as
this.
fuck.
true.
Give Nestani money dot
honestly.
today.
Also, one
Yes.
last Cole torch. Hey Cole, where's your video at, man? That you've been talking about.
Ouch. He's ducking down. Audio listeners, he's ducking down. Yeah.
Don't dodge the question, Cole.
Have a good week, everyone. Goodbye.
See ya, everybody. Bye.
Bye.